Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin.
Let me co-host Aaron.
Today, we are doing something a little bit different. We're covering Friday the 13th, but we're not doing
A
like a,
scene by scene.
yeah, not like a full like walkthrough or anything like that. I also have a few things that I want to say before we jump into everything. Uh, but it's definitely going to be a weird episode because I didn't know exactly how I wanted to go out Friday the 13th because this is definitely, I think, even probably more than the Halloween series, this series has been talked about like to death. I think everywhere, not just on like podcasts, but like friends and stuff. I feel like if you had to compare Halloween and Friday the 13th, I always think Friday is talked about more
Oh yeah,
than
sure.
Halloween. And I never understood that because to me, Halloween, I feel like is more visceral. I think it has more stuff going on, even though the series kind of gets a little fucked. um, but Aaron, we could probably still go through IMDb and stuff
Yeah.
if you want. We can still pull up like all that. So while you're getting all that up, I kind of want to talk about like our state of our country right now because Aaron and I we live in the U.S. and there's a lot of really bad shit happening right now, especially me as a parent. There's a lot of like scary things that are going on, and I did have a whole thing written. I kind of erased it. I kind of want to go off my gut right now, and kind of just talk about what's going on. But I want to start off saying that if you are one of these people who is blaming kids or blaming teachers or saying you need fucking booby trap schools, um, go fuck yourself. Take your gun that you're so in love with, and shove it up your ass with the safety off. Seriously, because this is absolutely gross. In case if the people listening are not aware of what just happened, within like the last week, there was a massive school shooting at a school, Robb Elementary in Baldy, Texas, and there was 19 children and two teachers that were killed um, by this 18-year-old was able to buy not one but two AR-15 and a shit ton of ammo without being checked for anything. He got it online, didn't have to show ID, didn't have to do any kind of background checks. He just bought it outright and able to attain it. And once he got it, he kind of from what I am gathering from everything that's going on and what's being said right now is he got it. He attacked his grandmother, who is in the hospital right now. I think she survived, and he left and headed to elementary school filled with kids and everybody who was slaughtered because that's what they were. Everybody who was slaughtered there was from the age of 10 to I think the oldest teacher was third or 37 or something like that.
Still young.
Yeah, it's really bad. And another thing that I just found out that one of the teachers was slaughtered there. Her husband, who was taking care of her kids, actually had a heart attack and he died. So now the kids are um, orphans, essentially, and it's fucking disgusting. Our leaders right now are on vacation. Congress is on vacation. Uh, I think they come back June 11th.
Conveniently.
And the reason why I think they're doing this, I want this to blow over, but this is a situation that we cannot let slide again. And I want to stress right now that I'm not a huge political person, trying not to do anything political on this show, but I think this goes way above politics at this point. It's literally in life and children's life at risk right now because we have people in power who are so for their fucking guns, that a representative, I forget which state, literally said, children are a small sacrifice for my right to bear arms. A fucking leader is saying
Disgusting.
that 19 children who were slaughtered and the 2 teachers that were slaughtered was a small price to pay or a small sacrifice for him to have guns. I'm sorry, but this guy, like, he needs to be brought out to the back and shot in the face with a fucking shotgun. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so pissed off, and I know a lot of other people are really pissed off. There's a lot of people trying to start a protest right now that I wish was happening a lot closer to where we are, because I would love to join and vote all these motherfuckers out. And it needs to happen. Anybody is voting, and if you're not voting, please sign up to vote, because I think this year is going to be very important. These people need to be gone. They need to fuck out of here, and it's kind of the point where we need to start voting on single issue. Our single issue right now is to vote for anybody who is not being paid by the NRA, who is somebody who wants gun control, because that's what we need. All these people out there are saying we don't need gun control, we need better health care or whatever. Like, okay, I'm okay for that too. Let's
It's not
put
gonna hurt.
like, let's put money into healthcare. Do they do it? No, they don't. And that's what a lot of these people are saying right now. You know, a lot of Republicans are spinning that right now, are saying that we need to be putting more money into healthcare. Guess what? I think I read that Texas got like a shit ton of money, or it was like 500,000 or some shit like that, some ridiculous number that they were supposed to be putting towards healthcare. And if I'm saying it correctly, that they put most of it to the police. And I'm sorry, but your police are doing shit.
Yeah. Then where why it's
Exactly.
shitting.
Exactly. They didn't want
All
to do
that
shit.
funding. Why they have the
Yeah, exactly. It's so disgusting that I think it was like 77 minutes total, I think, is what they tallied so far, of these children, teachers, staff were trapped in this, and numerous times people were on their phones calling 8 9 times saying that somebody needs to come in here. Nothing. They were outside, literally putting parents to the ground and threatening to tase and arrest them because they wanted to save their children. If this was my son, dude, the shit that I've been reading that some of these kids had to do to survive is something they should never do. Like, there was one girl who had to literally cover herself in her dead friend's blood, lay underneath a table to pretend that she was dead for 77 minutes. How fucking gross and disgusting is that?
child.
It's unbelievable. And there are people that are our leaders right now who are saying, that's okay. That's a small sacrifice, so I can carry my 5,000 guns. Okay, I'm all for you having a weapon that is registered and you got background checked for home. Okay, I'm all for that.
Like a shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun, or something like that is for home defense, and obviously you went through the checks and whatnot. Or like if you're going to a gun range and something that they have there,
yeah, for sport.
Yeah, that they have on stock for you to use at their. Okay, I'm fine with that, but something needs to be done about these people who are able to go without being checked. They can go online, buy a gun without being checked, and buying automatics. Like an AR-15, nobody needs. They do not need that. They don't. They don't need AK-47s or any automatic weapon like that shoots like crazy. All right, that's
Unnecessary.
it's so unnecessary. It's like, why do you need that other than to kill. That is the only reason that people have guns, essentially, is to kill or to go to a gun range. Okay, that's fine. If you go into a gun range, it's regulated. Thing is, in the U.S., people are so hung up on the Second Amendment. Do you understand what the Second Amendment is? This was written back when we had fucking muskets, where we had Minutemen, okay? Because it takes a minute to reload that motherfucker. And we still have this. And it needs to be rewritten, as it was for that, and it needs to be for a well-regulated militia. Is an individual person a well-regulated militia? No, they're not. Are the cops technically a well-regulated militia? In a way.
Yeah.
But this was like for war because of what was going on back then.
There's also a different,
super different time. There's a lot of laws, and the thing is, like, the Constitution, it were written in a way for them to be, rewritten or adapted to current times.
it's never worked.
No, they're not. They just leave them as they are. Like, there's so many things in there that are so outdated that if I were to go on and look at all the, I could probably tell you that we don't need. But I'm not going to do that because I'm focusing on this one that people are so fucking horny for, that will literally go and, I don't know if you know this, Aaron, but there's actually a place you can go and marry your gun.
Okay.
There's people who go and marry their guns. Like, what? I don't understand why you would even need that. This just proves the fact that they just really want to go and fuck their guns. And they're willing to let 10-year-olds get slaughtered for it. It's disgusting. But I just want to say that we need to do something about this. I'm so afraid for my son to start school here. It's his first year starting school. And I don't want to get a call or see on the news that there was a school shooting on his and he doesn't make it out alive. My son is the sweetest, most beautiful human that I know, obviously, because I helped create him. But yeah, it's so sad. Like, I was holding him the other night. I didn't say anything to him, but I was just holding him and just thinking, like, what if he was here right now? What if that was him? And he didn't come today. I want you guys to think about that. If you have kids, or even if you don't have kids, it doesn't even fucking matter. Just think about that and how it affected and how it is affecting families right now. Because I can't imagine what they're going through, other than them trying all that they possibly can to make these cowards do something. Ted Cruz he needs to be fucking slaughtered. Put him in the hallway. He believes that schools need one door, or at least one door open. That's it. So he wants it. So if there's an emergency, say there's a fire or something, you have to make a single file line and have all these people.
Like the station fire in Providence all over again.
Yeah, and we definitely don't want that. But that's just inviting a sick individual who needs obviously mental help, where our healthcare system does not allow or help anybody in that situation. Fucking expensive, or it's hard to get, especially if you're in like a poor community like this. The Uvalde area that this happened, I was a poor, and I think it was a relative black community, if I remember. So they weren't getting a lot of support, and that's another thing that people are thinking that's why the cops didn't fucking do anything. Which honestly, in this day and age,
nothing surprises me anymore.
I don't put it past them for not wanting to do anything. Fucking sick. There was, what you said, there was like 50 or something like that, right? Of cops there, all outside of this fucking school, just twiddling their thumbs because they didn't want to go in there and get shot. Some border patrol guy had to come over and do it. I read today that he came out and said that he did it because he was getting sick and tired of the cops not doing it. So this guy who just was on the border, because I guess it's close to the border, they have border patrol over there, and he went in there and took up the gunman because the cops didn't want to do it because they were doing to get shot. Bitch, it's your fucking
just
job.
Went in there and did it.
It's your job to go in there and throw your body at the situation, not let the teachers protect the kids, because at the end, it didn't They didn't protect them much as they wanted to. Everybody in that school has such trauma now, like on any level. Like, yeah, these kids are young, but they're at an age right now where they are soaking in all of this because their brain is a sponge, especially at 10, or even like younger than that. It's so disgusting, and this something needs to be done. And our president also isn't it. He's saying that we need to go do something. Bitch, you're the fucking president. You need to do something. You need to bring these motherfuckers back from Congress. You need to be pressuring their ass. Do something. And I know as soon as they get back, they're going to start some kind of fucking filibuster, which I personally think needs to be abolished. I also think the Second Amendment needs to be fucking abolished, because at this point, no one deserves a gun. Nobody. Right. I don't give a fuck. You don't deserve a weapon. You don't. Are you in the military? No. Are you a cop? I don't even think cops need a fucking gun, because they don't do shit with it. They don't. Yeah, they kill, black people and shit like that. That's so fucked, dude. They would rather go and do that than go in and save innocent children and teachers. But they'd rather go in these poor communities and seek out these people, a lot of them. I guess there was another instance that there was like a young kid. I think he was like 13 or 14. Was in a playground playing with like a squirt gun or something, and they shot him while they were in the car. Before they even got out of the car, they went out and killed him.
I've read stories about cops killing dogs too.
It's disgusting. Like the American experiment. This isn't even a dream anymore. The American experiment is fucking done. Like, it's awful. I would rather go to like France or some other place where this shit doesn't happen. Yeah, Bora Bora. Like, we need to do something. I would be okay with somebody invading us right now, because as long as I don't die, if it's not like a super violent thing, if they just come over here to do like a talk or something like that, be like, you need to stop doing this, or like hold our like leaders hostage or something. Take the ones out that are not doing shit, because they don't deserve to have that seat. They really don't. They don't deserve to have any sort of power or anything. It's just so disgusting. I'm sorry that we're starting this episode off really heavy, but like I said, this is something that needs to be talked about. This isn't something we're just gonna forget. Cannot let this slide again. Can't. There's been way too many school shootings for the past like 20 years, probably even more than that. It's disgusting. And somebody was doing math the other day that I was looking at and listening to. I guess since the start of this year, there has been almost 6 school shootings every month, and there's been a total of like 200 on mass shootings. And guess what they're all using? AR-15s. Baby. Yeehaw! Fucking take this shit and shove it up her ass. Yeehaw, man. My right to bear arms. Woohoo! So if you are listening to the show and you believe in booby trapping schools or arming kids, which is really fucking sick, people are saying that, or arming teachers, which is also really fucking sick, or the one door theory type thing that like Ted Cruz is thinking, or like you need to literally make a school prison, go fuck yourself and stop listening to that's it. Just get the fuck out of here. We don't want you here at all, and something needs to happen. And I'm gonna be doing all that I can that we are going in the right direction, not even backwards. We're going literally into hell. It feels like we are into hell. Our America is burning bad. But I think, other than that, all we can do is vote as much as we can. If you can protest where you are, protest. I know that there are schools throughout the country who are planning walkouts, and another thing that's really pissing me off is that principals are telling the parents, like sending out mass emails saying that if a child walks out, they're getting an unexcused absence, which is really fucking sick. You shouldn't be you shouldn't be punishing the kids. Like, doing that is fucked. So if you are in a community that is supporting these walkouts, I'm right there with you. If you are somebody who's saying that they shouldn't be doing these walkouts, that there shouldn't be any kind of protests, that we need to move on, go fuck yourself, because you're the problem. I hate to say that. I hate to say that about my own country, but it's true that we have a lot of people here that stupid toys over lives. But that's just my input. Probably go on to Friday from that, unless there's any last remarks you want to add, Aaron.
Oh, said it all.
Yep.
You know, to be first.
I try. Guys, Mike has been acting really weird today, so hopefully that's not picking up too much weirdness. One more second. Sorry, guys. I'll probably leave this in. A little bit of comedy, I guess. Aaron, if you want to pull up the IMDb and let us know what's going on. Once again, sorry guys for the heavy topics, but like I said, this is something that needs to be really loud and in people's fucking faces. So do all you can to support, okay? Because I don't want another school or any place like a grocery store. That's another thing that happened. There was a big shooting that happened at a grocery store that killed a bunch of people. It was awful. So that's all I have to say on this. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll move on to the movie now. All right. So what do we got going on in here?
Well, so for Friday the 13th, we have Betsy Palmer, who plays Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, that's I think the most,
probably the biggest name.
Yeah, I think she made the most off of this. If I remember, it was like 10 grand or something like that to buy a new car, something like that.
She was also in part 2. Penny Dreadful.
Yep.
Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, she did like a lot of like classic stuff. A lot of like TV
Anna,
shows.
Yep. Hang Time, The Fear. Yeah, a lot of like, it seems small parts, but like, you know, lesser known shows and movies. And then we have Adrienne King, who plays Alice. And
yeah, I would say because she technically is like the leading role in this film, she doesn't really do a lot.
No.
I don't think any of them really do
besides get
lot.
Killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in part 2 as well. Jason Rising. Tales of Poe. A lot of horror. Silent Night, Bloody Night.
I know that she still goes to a lot of conventions and stuff. So
yeah,
I would love to meet a full cast of a Friday movie. Right. To be honest.
And then we got Janine Taylor, who plays Marcy.
Marcy.
She was just the first one. Crystal Lake Memories, which I believe is a documentary.
Yeah,
right?
that's a really good one to watch if you want like an overview of everything and going. And it's kind of like the Nightmare on Elm Street one that they had, Never Sleep Again. That's also really, really good. So you guys should check those out.
And then you got Robbie Morgan, who plays Annie.
Yeah, she doesn't really live that long.
No.
But that's okay.
And of course Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. You need to download the IMDb map.
Yeah, I know. I keep meaning to. Kevin Bacon, who plays Jack. I mean, everyone knows Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. There's also in Tremors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Harry Crosby, who plays Bill. Laurie Bartram as Brenda. Mark Nelson as Ned. Peter Brower.
Yeah.
Steve Christie.
Yeah. So it's a pretty it's a big cast for
a lot of like disposable characters.
Yeah, it's a big cast for a movie that doesn't actually do a whole lot for what the rest of the series kind of is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a budget or anything like that? Or is IMDb gonna be an asshole and not give us that today too?
Let's see. Budget $550,000 estimated.
Okay, for 1980, right? That's not too bad, I guess.
And then opening weekend, it made $5,816,321.
Okay, so that definitely made its money back in a lot.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Um. All right, Rotten Tomatoes.
All right, I haven't seen the score on this one, so I'll take a guess, I guess.
All right, critic score 56 reviews.
Only 56?
Yeah.
Critic score. This is kind of like a movie that is held kind of high, but I know a lot of people have mixed feelings, so I'm gonna go kind of in the middle. I'll say like 62.
63.
63, really?
Yeah.
It's not certified fresh, right?
No.
Okay, because if it was, I would say the certified fresh meter is fucked then. Because we've had movies that were like in the 70s were certified fresh. That's weird.
Maybe it's based on like the quality of the reviews or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the audience score 100,000 plus ratings.
Critics love. I mean, not critics. The audience love this film. But I'm still gonna go and kind of in the middle. I'm gonna say I'll go a little bit above. I'll go in the 70s. I'll say like 71.
60%.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I should have went lower. Well, they were kind of, I guess, aligned, so that's not too bad.
Yeah. It's blatant exploitation of the lowest order.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's the first of its kind, but for like what it was riding off of and what they were copying.
Yeah.
There are definitely better choices out there.
You really have to wonder what exactly made the Friday the 13th series so wildly successful.
Yeah. It is really weird how it kind of like took off.
Yeah, right. Because it really it's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie either.
No, it's very like in the middle. Like all those reviews are saying, like 60 and 63%. It is very in the middle, but it's a movie you have to watch if you're a horror fan, I think. Like, you can't skip on this.
Yeah. Like, this one kind of sums it up. It says, although nothing about the film stands out as incredibly imaginative, the production isn't without a certain level of amusement.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely sums it up. So, I think we're just going to kind of jump into our overall thoughts or anything like that, or anything that really stuck out to us, if there's any like gripes that we have with this, because I do have some gripes with this film. So we're gonna do that with Friday the 13th. This came out in 1980, kind of on the height of Halloween. We already had Texas Chainsaw, and if I remember correctly, I think I forget the writer, but I know Sean Cunningham wanted this to kind of play off of Halloween. He wanted to take some stuff from it because he thought that it was going to make him a lot of money, and it did. It made him a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Because he knew that horror was, in a way, the way to make money, which is kind of weird because you don't really hear that from directors or writers or even actors of saying like, yeah, horror.
That's where the money's at.
Yeah, I go into it for the money. Sometimes I just go into it just because it's cheap and easy to make.
And sometimes they don't even plan on it, and they just end up doing it.
It's weird. So I will say that this film is pretty slow for like an hour and a half film. I think it's about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It takes a while for anything to really happen. The acting is, I would say, like, it's subpar. I'm not gonna say it's anything amazing.
It's like average 80s horror acting.
Very throwaway characters. I mean, this whole franchise is filled with throwaway characters because they want the body count, and this is definitely a movie that brings that if you want a body count, you go to the Friday franchise for. And I think that's another reason why it's so profitable and it's so popular, is because it deals with teenagers always having sex and is a body count.
And it kind of almost like created that stereotype for a lot of other horror movies, and like kind of paved the way with like the whole like teenagers having sex and and doing the camp that.
I mean, I love a good camp setting in a horror film. I don't know if it's because of Friday the 13th or if it's just because I think camps are creepy. I have been at camps in my life, and it's always something off
They
about
just
it.
have like a weird vibe to them.
Yeah, I used to go to a thing that was around us called Nature and Me. Aaron, I don't know if you ever went to that, but at the end of your, I think it was like fourth grade, during the summer, you'd go for, I think it's like a month or something like that, or a couple weeks, and you'd go and learn about nature, and you'd do all these things, and you'd be, in cabins bunked with other schools or friends or anything like that, and you'd go to like a mess hall, and the food there was really fucking good. I have to say that. I remember the food being really good. I was really, really young. But you'd go and you'd learn about stuff, because where we are, there was a lake. So you'd go and we would collect plankton, which is really, really weird that we did that. We went to and like investigated. But besides all of the science stuff, there was I think the last night, and this is what I think. Every time I think of a camp, this is what I think of. We did. It was like a manhunt. I don't know if you guys ever played manhunt.
Oh, yep.
So they set that up. The counselors and the people who were running the camp set up this manhunt, and we went into different groups. And the killer, because they wanted it to be a killer for some reason, was a guy wearing a yellow rain jacket with a hook for a hand. And we had to stay away from other groups, but we had to go and find clues in like these like areas of like the whole place we're staying at this camp. And every now and then there would be like an alarm that went off, and it was loud as fuck. So as like a fourth grader, so I would be like 10 or so, I think, around that age. I think it's appropriate age. So that scared the fuck out of me.
Well, my question is, what is the hash slinging slasher doing at your camp?
Dude, I don't know. I really don't know. And every time I think about that, though, I think of the killer from The Last Action Hero. The guy at the end, I forget his fucking name, but the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's fighting the guy on the roof and he's wearing the yellow rain jacket and it's raining and shit. That's what I think of every time. So I guess I do have some like PTSD with camps and stuff, and it's all because of that. And I think it's also mixed in with Friday. So every time I go to any kind of camp like setting, whether I'm staying there or if I'm just visiting, it's such a weird vibe. So I'm curious if there's anybody else out there. Yeah, if there's anybody else out there that kind of feels the same way or went to something like Nature and Me, I really want to know about it. Email us or comment on one of our posts or something about it, because I really want to know.
Weird experiences, scary experiences.
Yeah, because I mean, camp is fucking weird, and bugs everywhere. Like, why does anybody want to put themselves in that situation of being eaten alive? I never could understand that. Even like going to the beach, I'm not an outdoor person. I hate the sun. I always have lights off in my house. My son hates it, but I usually have the lights on if he asks for it. But I love being in the dark. I'm sorry, I'm a vampire. I'm sorry. But back to Friday the 13th. Other than it being like really slow, it takes a while for kills to kind of happen. There's a lot of goofy characters, like what the fuck's that guy's name? Crazy Ralph or something.
Yep.
And he's like, "You're all doomed."
You're all doomed.
That guy. I mean, he's probably like the best part of the film, to be honest, just because he's fucking crazy.
Crazy Ralph.
What are your? Do you have any gripes or anything with this film, Aaron?
Well, as you know, I don't really like slow burns, and this is a little bit of a slow burn in a way, but like, yeah, it is.
Now that you're saying that, it's like a slasher slow burn.
Yeah,
because it takes so long for the shit to happen, and it's like a who did it type thing, even though it's got like not a good who did it.
No, but other than that, I mean, I think it's it's a good experience watching it, like it's got what you want in a slasher film. It's got kills. I think it's a total of 10 kills,
something like that, 10 or 11 or something like that. So it's got a good body count.
Yeah,
for the first in the franchise.
And it keeps it exciting towards the end, but but yeah, I mean, it's a run of the mill 80s horror slasher.
Yeah, it's just going off all the.
But it did, like I said, kind of pave the way for a lot of everybody knows fucking Jason Voorhees.
Even though it's funny considering that this movie doesn't even have Jason in it.
Exactly.
So it's always weird that you would connect with the Jason that everybody knows that came out in Friday the 13th Part 3. No one connects with Mrs. Voorhees or anything like that. No one connects with Sackhead Jason, which I think looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, right.
They should have kept that for a little bit longer than they did. Yeah, it's crazy to know that this movie really did pave a way for so many movies after, and it kind of evolved every.
And not even movies, just like different like pop culture and like
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
it's definitely something you
like
gotta
timeless,
see.
but
Yeah, it is
in its own way.
If I had to pick a Friday the 13th movie that I would want to watch all the time, I'm always tossing between 4 and 5. Sometimes 2, just because I love seeing Sackhead Jason. But I never really go to 3, even though that's obviously Hockey Mask appearance. Jason.
Yeah.
As
long as it's not the 2009 one.
That one was weird. If we're gonna go into that, yeah, I like how they kind of reimagined it.
Like it was a good idea in theory, but it just like I don't know. I feel like they tried to squeeze 3 movies into one.
Yeah, they did.
And it didn't work out. I feel like, and like the production, like it was good, but like it was just over the top, I feel like, and like because it didn't have that same vibe that like the original had. I think if they were able to kind of replicate that same, like,
I think if they stuck with the mother who did it and she lasted and they kind of made a thing out of Mrs. Voorhees. So what would have been really fucking cool is if we actually had a Friday the 13th movie of young Jason, and it's just young Jason, and it's him going through camp and turning into this thing, essentially, because he's just like a mutant humanoid zombie dude. Like I don't die. I just don't know how else to really describe him once you start evolving into other installments.
Yeah, it's kind of like with Michael Myers, just like a being, like an entity almost, except he does have like that physical, like,
Yeah. But Michael, he has so much. I think Michael has way more personality, and people are probably gonna hate me for this. I think Michael has more personality than Jason.
Yeah. No,
I mean, Jason, once you start getting, like Kane in there and doing the fucking breathing.
Oh yeah.
Once he starts doing shit like that, but I really think Michael scares me more than Jason. Yeah. And I think that's another reason why Halloween has always stuck with me, and that's why I have so many masks and shit of him. But yeah, there's just something about these 80s slashers that they're like entities. They're not really people unless you're going into like the single movie slashers where it's only one thing, like Blood Rage, like that's an actual person who's doing shit. Or what's another really good one? Pieces is it's a person who's really fucked up in the head. Yeah, it's, I don't know.
But like, yeah, it's got like a supernatural, like almost like esque kind of.
Yeah, and the video game for Friday the 13th really like solidified that too, with him being able to move really fast in water and shit like that, and essentially like teleporting and stuff like that.
Which again, I think it's good in a way that it leaves things to the imagination a little bit and kind of lets people theorize, a bit. Unlike, like we wouldn't be, if it was confirmed that he was like, obviously he was human at one point, but like, if he was just like a fucking zombie, we'd just be like, oh, Jason was a zombie. We wouldn't be having this debate or conversation right now,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's definitely a zombie once you hit, I think, Jason Lives. Because he comes back in the whole like Frankenstein style, which is another really good movie, to be honest. I like that one just because it really freshens up, I think, the whole franchise.
Yeah.
But for the first installment that we're talking about today, it's you don't think it's gonna go in the way that it has gone. You think that this would be like a one and done.
Yeah.
And that's how I always feel
honestly
after
a little
watching
underwhelming.
it. Yeah, it's because it's like Mrs. Voorhees gets her head chopped off. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Which
okay.
that's one thing I did like about the remake. It got. I mean, not that the kills weren't creative. Like I love some of the kills in this movie, like the arrow through the bed, just really cool. But like, you know what I like. You know, for instance, in the remake, the one kill where he sticks the machete through the dock and fucking pulls the chick through. You know, you're not gonna see that in an '80s movie. You know,
no. Even with Tom Savini doing a lot of crazy stuff because he worked on this film, and I mean, Tom Savini is God.
He's a mastermind. Yeah,
he is God. You know, he did so much good shit for all of these really shitty films, and I think everybody needs to really owe it to Tom. Because I think without him, the works just wouldn't be as good as they are today. I mean, if you look at some of the movies that he did, obviously with higher resolutions and stuff, you're gonna see the makeup kind of fall apart. But that's just a product at the time, especially with this film with the arrow through the neck. I have I think I have all of them on Blu-ray. And for certain kills, even in other movies in the franchise, that the effects really start to fall apart. You can see where the prosthetic is and where it's not. Where if you were to watch this on the reels and stuff, or even a VHS, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
But it's still like I like little things like that though. Anyway, you know, it's kind of charming almost in a way. Like it just shows the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
And the work that was put into it, it shows that wasn't just like fucking programmed in.
Exactly.
Somebody actually created that.
Yeah, especially this day and age, there's so much CGI. Like Aaron and I always say, CGI and practical, if they're mixed and blended good enough, then I'm okay with that. But if it's just straight up CGI to replace something that you can't do, physically in a good and steady budget, then okay, that's fine, I guess. But I don't know. I'm always more practical than CGI, and I think everybody kind of is like that, except for maybe a few who are like, yeah, CGI is the best because you can do whatever you want with it. You can, essentially make things look like a fucking video game.
It has a place, like in movies like, like the Avengers or like the Marvel movies.
Yeah, they need that. If they don't...
that's fine, though, in that category, that genre, you expect it.
Yeah.
But, like, with horror, stuff like blood and guts, you can replicate that by hand, You want to see that, know.
I want to see people ripping out spines and shit and trying to eat guts and brains and stuff. I want to see that.
But you want to see it like that. Yeah, an effort was put into like making it look real, that wasn't just computer program.
Yeah, exactly. And as much as people don't want to think about this, but Scream, a lot of the movies going on were starting to, I think, kind of rely on a lot of CGI, especially I think even a new one. I think there was a lot of CGI that was happening there and not so much practical, which is kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
Even though we kind of shat on that film, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched it since. So I really need to go give it another watch to see if over the time it's gonna like hit me a little bit different. But I mean, the Halloween franchise, like they mix in CGI and
like
practical.
I said, it works. It blends. It complements each other.
Yeah, especially Halloween Kills. There was a lot of stuff that needed to be CGI that this wasn't practical. But one thing that is really cool is the whole in that movie, the firefighter scene, that they were filming all that in front of like a real burning building, so they only had like one take to do all that stuff, and that's nuts.
Jesus.
And everybody's like
that's
on
ballsy.
wires and stuff, so like they were using a lot of practical stuff there, and then that's really really ballsy and really really cool. I love that shit. Though. Yeah, so I am looking forward for Halloween Ends. I mean, am I like as hyped as I was for Halloween Kills? No, because the way Halloween Kills kind of ended, even though after talking to Logan about that stuff, I'm still kind of up in the air. But hey, we'll see if they made things right. But back to Friday the 13th. trying to think if I have a favorite kill. I mean, everybody's always gonna say, you know, that the arrow through the neck, right? But I've always kind of liked Mrs. Voorhees just because it was kind of out of nowhere in a way, even though a lot of it was like in slow motion. And it's like the end of the movie, and you kind of already went through this kind of drag of a film, and there's a lot of slow parts. Good. Yeah, and I don't know, that one always stuck with me more. I guess even like the axe to the head is a good one.
Say the axe is good too.
That's a good one, but I don't know. Mrs. Voorhees always kind of stuck with me a little bit more. But what about you, Aaron?
Well, besides the axe and the arrow in the bed, I think that the girl who gets like tied up and then shot with the bow and arrow.
Oh yes, that's
because it kind of because it takes advantage of the like the camp environment and I mean you get shot with one arrow, it's not going to kill you right away. So the fact that she got shot multiple times,
yeah, that just sucks. I don't want to ever be in that situation.
She probably suffered.
Yeah, so that sucks. Do you have a favorite? Because this movie is kind of riddled with jump scares. Do you have a favorite jump scare? If there's any that pop into your head or anything?
None that really stick out, honestly.
I mean, obviously everybody's gonna say, "Oh, the fucking ending with Jason and stuff."
Yeah, but
I kind of, even though I think of this one more as a jump scare kill instead of an actual like good kill, is the one with fucking Steve Christie when he's talking and it's the POV shot and he gets stabbed because you're not expecting it, so it always makes me kind of jump at that one. So I classify that one almost as like a jump scare, just because you're not really seeing what's happening and it's just all in the body and the face.
Yeah,
I've always liked that one. Plus it's at night and it's kind of well lit up by like the sign and his Jeep and stuff, so it's a cool like little area.
I do like the use of like the POV shots in this movie, like towards the beginning where
I wish they did more of that in the series,
and just kind of kept that theme throughout.
I remember reading a long time ago, I think this is before all the lawsuits and shit happened, that there was actually going to be like a quote-unquote found footage, like Friday the 13th film, and it was going to be like all really? POV, and it was probably going to be really cheesy and weird, but
I would have watched this.
I would have watched it, yeah. I would have loved to see it in a different light, because I think if they're ever going to bring back this franchise and bring in a new installment, even though the lawsuits are still kind of going on, it's just greed and money. One person wants this and one person wants that. It's like, why can't you guys just get together and make these films and both get an even split? I hate shit like that. I think
it's too complicated.
I think if they were going to bring it back, they need to do something like that. Or like, what else could they do instead of like a found footage type thing? They could probably do it through the eyes of Jason. Like him actually going and coming back from the dead and you following him and not the counselors. Or even if it's him and they kind of went off and did a little bit more how they were trying to do like the city life thing. If they did more of that, him roaming in like a concrete jungle.
Yeah,
kind of like a Predator type thing, but we're focusing on him going from like neighborhood to neighborhood, just slaughtering people trying to get his way back to Crystal Lake would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Just like something fresh,
It needs to. You can't just keep doing the same shit over and over.
Other than that, though, just leave it alone.
No more remakes. No more remakes. No more installments of remakes. Okay. Texas Chainsaw did that to death. I mean, Halloween, I guess, has been rebooted a couple of times, but each time it's been rebooted, it's been freshened up. It's been different. Well, a lot of these series, when they go into reboot, like areas, it's kind of just rehashing what happened. There's nothing fresh or exciting that's going on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I guess people would say Nightmare on Elm Street was rebooted, but was it good? No. It was kind of rehashing the same shit that was going on, but just made it
a little different, like a different skin.
And just really gross and keeping things that you were just kind of what's that word? Fucking insinuating or whatever, thinking that he was like a child molester or whatnot. But the remake actually made him that instead of you thinking that's what he was back in the day, because they never really said that in the original films. Scream. Would you consider Scream 5 or 5 Cream or
5 Cream?
What the fuck do we call it?
Scream.
Yeah, for Cream or something like
Cream.
that. Whatever the fuck we called it. Like, would you consider that one being like a reboot, even though they're doing the whole requel shit? But get that out of here. But just like straight up like reboot. Do you consider that one a reboot or a continuation?
I think I'm gonna go with the continuation though, because
me
it's
too.
got old characters coming back. So rather they should have made it than not is another story. But
yeah, and now they're making another one, and everybody's so fucking horny because Kirby's back. Like, yeah, are we gonna watch it? Of course we're gonna watch it. Are we gonna?
But I might not like it.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah,
everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
I'll give every movie a chance, though.
Exactly, even the shitty ones, because you never know. Sometimes the shitty ones are gems,
right?
And that's what everybody's been figuring out over the last like 20 years from all these 80s movies, that they're finding like hidden gems. Like Blood Rage was one that was like shit on back then, and now everybody love it. They love that movie. I love that movie.
If a movie gives me
definitely
some
not
type of
cranberry
joy,
sauce.
yeah, that's definitely not cranberry sauce. Like some kind of joy, even if it's not in the way that I'm expecting it to, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Like but
I think what would be interesting is if they tried doing a Friday the 13th movie in the style of a Giallo.
That would be
it would be weird. I don't know how they would do it. I don't know. But if they were to bring it back,
that's blending a lot of different subgenres.
Yeah, that would
themes.
keep it fresh. People just be like, what the fuck's going on?
You just got like Jason walking through the woods with like flashes of red and yellow.
Yeah.
And then you got cops lurking around and
yeah. That would be really, really interesting. Or if we kind of bring back like the verses that they were doing with like Jason and Freddy, if other
Pinhead versus Jason.
Oh, Pinhead would win. Well, actually, I don't know.
I'd say Pinhead, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, someone has to open up the box. Does Jason open up the boxes to fuck with him?
Yeah.
So he finds a way to open up the boxes to fuck with Pinhead.
Yeah, he's like, well, who has summoned? Oh, shit is going down.
Yeah, that would be interesting as fuck. I've always wanted to see a Michael versus Jason. Right. Michael would tear him apart, dude. Michael would fuck him up.
Yeah.
Because Michael doesn't really have a weakness, but with Jason, wasn't Jason's weakness in Friday the 13th water?
I was gonna say water, but like he also goes in the water, which makes no sense.
It contradicts itself.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he drowned in water, but then there's also like he can go in water and
jump out on boats and shit and drag people down.
But then he was also afraid of the water, so it's like, what are you guys doing here? Yeah, Michael doesn't really have one that I can think of.
Just that thirst for blood.
Yeah, he's just a killing machine. Maybe his one weakness is the love of his niece, but even then it kind of falls apart because it gets really kind of creepy and gross. But that's like the only like quote unquote weakness I can think of for Michael. Who else? Freddy. Well, obviously fire. I think that's always been a thing, and even before Jason versus Freddy.
Ghostface is always pretty human. Was always human. So, but like so
bullets is his fucking
bullets,
or anything that can hurt a human.
Fucking. Did Pinhead have any weaknesses besides closing a box? And like.
I think maybe if he were to have one, it would be like love, because he's always about like
torture and pain.
So if you were to like go up and be like, I'm gonna give you a hug, and just hug him forever, I wonder if he would like
he just melts.
Yeah, that would be really funny. Let's write a movie of just a group of hippies trying to like pass love around to the world, and they come across the box and they open it because they think it's kind of some sort of like love symbol. If they open it within the group, it shares it, and then the pinhead arrives, and then they have to pass the love on to him, and that's what kills him. That would be interesting.
Oh man. Leatherface. What would you say?
Leatherface is definitely family.
I was gonna say like his emotions.
I don't think. Have you seen the new one yet?
I started it and then never finished it.
I don't blame you. I liked it first viewing. I kind of liked it, but I went and watched it again with the thought of Saw's family. There's no fucking family in this film. So like his reason of being isn't even like supposed to be there.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I think it's
so his is definitely family, and I think of just being too not overpowered, but like intimidated. I think if he gets too intimidated, he kind of backs off.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is like a really big.
I'm trying to think of like the core like.
I mean, Leprechaun. There was always like give me gold and shit like that. So you would give him the gold.
Vampires, you got garlic.
Yeah, like all the classic shit. But I can't really think of like any other big franchises. I mean, we got like Candyman and stuff like that. But his weakness is. What is his weakness again? I think it's literally love, even though that's what he wants. So I think his weakness is also his strength.
Even the thing you want is the thing that hurts you.
Yeah. Be my victim. But yeah, that's...
Which, speaking of Candyman...
Candyman?
Certain somebody followed us recently.
Candyman, yeah. Yep. I don't know if anybody is following us on Twitter, but yep, we have Sir Candyman, Sir Tony Todd following us, which is so weird too, because I do like his posts and stuff if I see them, which is not all the time, so it's really weird that he did that, but it's really cool,
right?
Because I've always seen people on Twitter like making it like their goal to get Tony to follow them, and I didn't really do anything. And he was just like, I'm
gonna follow these guys.
I think I liked the post they had that day, or I didn't like his post. Someone like posted on, like commented on his post, and I think I liked that, and I meant to like his, but I never went back and did it, and then he followed us. So yeah, that's really, really cool that we're starting to get to this level that I'm always saying to everybody. I know we're getting like way off topic of Friday the 13th, but we'll get back to that in a second. We're getting on this level of the show where we can start interviewing and getting like early looks at movies, which we are going to be doing a review this week. I don't want to put too much until we do that review, until I get like the okay to say stuff, and just being followed by like these icons that I look up to and Aaron looks up to is crazy, dude. Just knowing the journey of the show is nuts, and
how far it's come.
And it's really all to everybody who listens, watches, and supports the show. Anything helps. You guys don't have to be subscribing to us to unlock the videos on Spotify if you don't want to. You don't have to be on our Patreon if you don't want to. Just sharing our episodes is enough for us. If you listen to it, that's fucking awesome. And obviously that's why we're doing this, because we want people to listen to our show and listen to our views on things. And I know it's been really crazy the last couple of weeks, especially this week has released 3 episodes, 2 interviews, and a movie review. Next week we're going to be going to our actual schedule that I want, which is going to be 1 review and 1 movie. We have, let me see, I can tell you guys how many actual interviews that we have next week. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 interviews and 1 guest spot on another show, and then 1 guest coming on next week. And then the week after that, we have 2 interviews and a couple guest spots. So we have a lot of stuff lined up, and these are all going to be spaced out as much as I possibly can. Unless you guys want the 2 interviews and 1 movie review a week,
all at once.
Yeah, I can space it out throughout the week. But I think 1 and 1 is going to be okay. We'll experiment with that for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess back to Friday the 13th. Is there one camp counselor that you despised, like that you wanted them dead immediately?
The fucking dude in the beginning, the one where they're making out in the cabin. He's like, "Oh, hey, we weren't doing anything."
Oh yeah. Honestly,
I was happy when he died. He was kind of annoying, kind of a douche.
I always wanted Kevin Bacon to die first, just because he's Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that's true.
Not because he was annoying me or anything, just because I wanted to see Kevin Bacon die, and he died in a really cool way.
He did.
And now if this was a real life thing, like, yeah, that guy died in a really cool way, that would be so fucked up for us to say. Right? But it's a movie, so we are allowed to say that, and we are critiquing it in our own way. This is weird, not going through an actual script.
Well, it's like everybody has seen this movie, had to have seen this movie at least once. We've seen it probably 1,000 times each.
Yeah, and there's so many podcasts out there talking about all the mainstream franchises and stuff. So a lot of the things we are covering this year are kind of going, like, they're well known, and that's what I wanted to do, but they're not like ones that are talked about a lot, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think next year we're gonna have to really hammer on these franchises, unless we just don't want to do that because it's already been talked about so much. We'll see. Because there are things that I want to talk about and go through, but I just don't know if it would be worth it because of so many people have already talked about them.
Yeah.
So we'll just bounce it.
Go by, as we go.
I mean, you guys let us know too. Like, do you want to hear all these franchises and stuff that people have talked about to death? Do you want to hear our inputs on it, or are you kind of over it and don't want to hear about
the lesser known shit?
Yeah, like the whole Scream series, or the whole like Nightmare on Elm Street, or Halloween, or the rest of Friday the 13th, or like even Leprechaun, which I don't think that many people really cover the Leprechaun films that I've seen. I do want to get to those because they get really wacky.
Yeah, they do. I haven't seen those in years, so.
Yeah, I think I have a box set of all of them. I think I could be wrong though. Yeah, there's a lot that I feel like we could cover, but it's
probably all been covered before, you know.
Yeah, so I kind of like sticking to like single movies and ones that are coming out now, like straight to like streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
I like covering those ones a lot. I do want to get into covering movies that come out, you know, as they're coming out, but sometimes it's really hard to do that stuff, especially with our schedules. And also you have to compete with all these other people that are doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's also why I like to kind of wait a week or two before we do that. But if it aligns right, like it did with Scream, then we would probably do it that day.
Yeah.
Because everything else has been coming out in such weird times.
I know.
And days that we're both super fucking busy.
Always.
All right, I guess we can get to our final verdicts on this, because there's really not much else to talk about on this film other than the acting is kind of subpar. It's a little slow. The end kill is really good. The last fucking like jump scare is good, but the whole we're gonna set up a sequel type thing at the end didn't need that.
No. I like the cheesy title card though.
Yeah. They definitely have those throughout the whole series. So if you like cheesy title cards and really bland like credits and stuff,
kind of became like the thing for it.
Yeah, then this is definitely the series for you. I know this one's held high when people are talking about it, but review standards, it's kind of like in the middle, and I'm kind of there too.
Yeah.
In the middle, that I'm gonna go 6 out of 10, and kind of align with the 60 and 63, just because I really do feel that this doesn't really push too many of boundaries. It really does rehash things from other series, because that's what it was doing.
Yeah.
It was taking it from other series and stuff like that, but I don't know. I prefer other installments in this franchise over this one.
Oh yeah.
Like I would even watch 2 more than this one, just because it's more entertaining. Things happen quicker. So yeah, 6 out of 10 blood splatters.
All right. Yeah. Going from a review perspective, it's you know, like you said, yeah, it's kind of a subpar movie. Nothing crazy about it. It's kind of typical. But I think the fact that it like started like a whole like era of like, you know, and to this day people, you know of Jason or Friday the 13th, but I just haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
I think for that reason it still holds like a kind of a special place in my heart.
Yeah. And this was, I think you said this was like your first movie that you remember watching too, right?
Yeah. So, and for that reason, I'll go a little higher. I'm gonna say 7.
7. That's understandable.
Yeah.
I think in between like a 6 and a 7 is good for this film. I don't think it could ever go any higher than a 7, maybe 7.5. Even if you're a die-hard fan.
Yeah.
I think that's the highest that you're gonna get. Are the effects good? Yeah, they're good for what they are and for what they were using at the time. And for Tom Savini's, experience, he was really young. I think he was like 25 or 26 when he did this. So this definitely was like around one of his first films that he really did. I don't know. I just really don't think it could get any higher. It's
just average.
It really is. It's slightly above average, and that's okay. For a slasher film, that's okay. It shows in
nothing needs
the
to be perfect, and I mean, it made its money a lot,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it definitely made its money. So
did what they wanted to do.
Exactly, like they wanted to go and make a horror movie to make money, and they went and did a horror movie that made money. A lot of the marketing I think helped with that more than the actual film, and I guess that's okay.
Probably the timing too.
Yeah, and there are definitely films out there who have made a lot of money from marketing and not so much of the actual film, and sometimes that's okay. They get investors they give them a lot of money to do this stuff, and sometimes the finished product isn't that great, but they went and made something, and I always say if you make something, then that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's more than I can say. Other than this podcast with you, we haven't really done anything too crazy yet. Once we get a new camera and stuff, I really want to start experimenting. But I think we have a couple of, actually one for our
comments from the void.
Our comments from the void section. We have one comment from Dissect That Film, and these guys are great. I like listening to them. They actually went and they went through the whole franchise on Friday the 13th. They did like 10 or 15 minutes on each one to kind of like summarize it. And they were kind of feeling the same about this. How it's like kind of like a subpar, like meeting in the middle movie.
Yeah.
And there, like I said, there's definitely better installments to this franchise than the first one.
And just better franchises.
Yeah, exactly. And they say the one that started a ridiculously long franchise that spans decades. Yep. Good kills, great effects, and a pretty interesting twist, and threw me off even after watching it multiple times as a kid. Surprise, Swampy Boy. Yeah, definitely. The ending definitely, will get you. I think even until this day, there are people who watch it like, holy shit, that scared the hell out of me. And, it was there for a reason, and it still works.
Yeah.
Today.
I give it credit for that.
Yeah, it definitely holds up in that regard. This whole film, it does hold up as except for some of the effects I was saying, because I always like to go and watch things in higher resolution, like I say all the time, just to see if things do fall apart. And really, it's just like discoloration on like the skin to prosthetic. That's really it.
Yeah.
Lighting is really good. The sceneries are beautiful. They do a lot of scenery shots in this. They show you a lot of like the trees and the lake and the houses or cabins, and I kind of like that. It really does set the vibe that you're there at camp, so that's definitely something that it does well, and most of the installments I would say do that pretty well, but they never go any crazier than that.
Yeah,
they try to do the whole city life thing, and it kind of fell short. Because the whole movie was on a fucking boat, except for the last 10-15 minutes, if that. But yeah, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I really don't think it could go any higher. If you are someone who does rate it higher, I'd be interested to know why.
And what you think about the movie.
Yeah, and what brings you to labeling it at a higher rating. I'm very, very curious to see if there's anybody out there who does do that. but I think most people would align with what we were saying.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much our run through of Friday the 13th. Like I was saying, I just didn't think it was necessary to go through the whole fucking thing and pick out moments and quotes and stuff, just because it's been done so much. So that's pretty much it for this one. I can say that next week we have some pretty interesting shit going on. I gotta go rewatch this preview that we have here, and I don't know if you've watched it yet. The one that's in the email.
Yeah, not yet.
So that's coming up that we got to do. I think that's Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. That we got going on. But next week we're going to be having Candy on from the House of Screams to talk about Torso, which is a Giallo film, and I can't wait to do that. That was supposed to be this week, but things got a little bit jumbled up, kind of on my part for not, realizing how late in the week it was, because I was editing and getting all these interviews and stuff out. And thank you guys so much for listening to those, because they have been getting some pretty good numbers on them. And the Death Drop Gorgeous guys were fucking amazing. The House That Screams was amazing.
I think it started off the new series pretty well.
Yeah, and there's actually one that's going to be coming out this Wednesday coming that Aaron wasn't able to attend, which was okay. That's going to happen sometimes. We interviewed Jason Miller, who did a lot of art for our buddy Dean of the Dead, and I'm actually going to probably be reaching out to him at some point to get a mascot made for us, because there's something that's going on in our new series. I guess you guys could probably tell with the whole new voice and intro and stuff that's going on over there. He's going to be kind of our mascot. He's going to be kind of being an ass to us at some points. So he's going to be...
kind of like the leprechaun, just talk shit. And
yeah, so he's going to be coming in throughout the episodes and stuff, and I really want to get something behind him to have like a face instead of just be a voice. So I'm really interested as to what Jason can come up with the ideas that are in my head. But I'm also, excited for how the rest of this year is going to be going, for the amount of people that we have lined up that are going to be coming on. I'm excited for a lot of them. This summer, I really wish I could say right now, just to get everybody kind of amped up for it. But we'll wait until it gets a little bit closer, and we can just go through there. Yeah. But if there's anybody you guys want us to get on the show that maybe we haven't thought of, let us know, and we'll try to get them on here to interview them. And I might actually start reaching out to the community if you guys have questions for us to ask for these guests, because sometimes I have questions, but I get kind of limited sometimes. Where you're just like, oh, I only had this amount, and you wish you had more, but you can't think of any. So I'm gonna probably start reaching out to everybody. We'll see. It really depends on who the interview is. If it's like an early release type thing, then we can't do it for that one, because sometimes we have a deadline or whatever the fuck it's called. You get locked underneath something, and you can't do it until it's released. Yeah. But we will let you guys know if we're able to tell you who the guest is and when it was going to be and when it's going to release. And Aaron, once again, dude, thank you for fucking doing this with me. Because this show, I don't think it would be where it is without you. If I was doing this solo, I probably would have stopped months ago.
Well, I'm glad it could help.
Yeah, so thank you. And I know you're excited to talk to some of these people too, so
yeah.
It's going to be your ride, guys, and it's just fucking beginning.
You got a busy week coming up.
Oh, it is so busy. It is so busy, dude. Like, I looked at the calendar, and I was just like, what did I do? I was like, what did I do?
What have I done?
But it also kind of this happens like that because sometimes people have the same availability, or they only have a limited availability, so you have to squeeze them in when you can. And yeah, sometimes it's gonna suck, but if we can get them on, then we're gonna get them on,
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for sticking around and supporting us in any way possible. Yeah, this episode is kind of like not a train wreck. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of themes, but it's really just because this past week has been really draining me, and I know you could probably hear it in my voice. But thank you guys for sticking around. Next week is going to be an uplifter. It really is. It's gonna be nuts. So thank you guys so much for listening. And this was the Baron's Head Up podcast. I was your host, Dustin.
I was your co-host, Aaron.
And stay spooky, guys, and keep listening, supporting not even just us, other podcasts out there like The House That Screams. They're amazing. If you haven't listened to that interview already, please go do that and go listen to the Death Drop Gorgeous interview, because that was really fucking fun. We are going, well, I gotta send you those dates again, but we're going to be going to some of their screenings of the movie and meet them in person. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and we will catch you next week. Stay spooky.
Goodbye.